Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this morning with David, and we are talking about presence, how to have it and how to be it. And we also want to continue the conversation.
To be present or have a presence?
Both. It's the same word,
okay,
David.
Sure.
This is not Kabbalistic wisdom. This is English language, and their presence and presence.
Your English was always superior to mine.
What can I do? We're always talking about how the energy of the week and the energy of the month provides us with specific opportunities and potential challenges. And through sharing that wisdom, we give our listeners practical and powerful wisdom and tools to help you navigate any day of the week. And because we're in the month of Virgo now, there is a unique opportunity that we touched on last week. David is actually doing a live demonstration of how distracted I can be and how hard it is to stay present during these episodes. The truth is, that is one of the biggest challenges we have in life, is staying present. We have all the good reasons to fade in and out of what's happening in front of us, and some of them are really good reasons. But the fact is, Kabbalah teaches light can only be revealed in the here and now. You wishing for the light later or feeling badly that the light didn't happen back then doesn't reveal any light. So we're going to talk about the missteps and the ways to correct those missteps when it comes to being present and having that energy of being present in everything that we do. But we also want to shed some more light on the opportunity of the month of Virgo and the conversation that we began last week when we were talking about self-judgment and self-compassion.
That's right. And if you haven't heard last week's episode, it's such an important one to listen to because our default state is to find what's wrong. It is a defense mechanism. It is how we both protect ourselves and also how we feel good about ourselves, because every time we lower the bar, we feel like we're in the company of people who are like us and we're not missing out. So part of seeing the bad in people or focusing on how somebody hurt me or wronged me is all part of the process of it's perpetuating the negativity. As we said that this world has always a good and negative aspect to it. It's the peel and the fruit. All fruit in this world has a peel, spiritually, physically, in every part of our lives. That's why you have to break through or overcome something in order to reveal miracles. And so the way you can overcome is by seeing the good. And we talked about that last week. So what I wanted to talk about a little bit here is actually part of seeing the good. Ultimately, after you see the good, eventually this becomes some form of love, because the way you love something and the way you actually become someone who is loved by others is the first phase of that, is connecting to the first phase of that, which is focusing on the good. And I'm reading actually from a great Kabbalist who we don't know what his name is, but he wrote a book called the Ways of the Righteous, the Ways of the Great Souls. In one of his chapters, it's called The Gate of Love. And I wanted to read what he wrote because it's very beautiful and there's so much we can unpack here. How does one come to a place where he or she loves other people, but also he is loved by them? And a person, you should give to all men as much, like mankind, right? As much as you can of yourself and of your possessions. Of yourself, you should serve all kinds of people, both rich and poor, and exert yourself on their behalf. So don't just take a side for the rich or the poor, serve both. Of your possessions, you should lend to the rich person money when he is in need, and the poor man when he's in need. You should also give gifts, occasional gifts, according to your ability, at intervals, and send treats and gifts also to the rich. So it's interesting. What we're saying, that one of the things that energetically makes us open our heart and reveal the energy of mercy and love is when we act this way to all kinds of people. Because I think sometimes we think only a poor person or someone who's at a disadvantage deserves our goodness, and someone else not so much. They're saying you should even give gifts to people who don't need them. If you have a dealing with another person, like a business transaction, you should conduct it in complete honesty. You should not make issues of small things. Not make issues of small things. So a person who is petty about the details, who is always fighting over or judging or bringing up small things in a relationship, this is a way to lose both your love for them and their love for you. You should be okay that your friend profits from you. And you should never try to profit from your friend. You should speak gently with all people, not in an aggressive way. And if someone shames you, you should not shame them in return. You know, all of these are very simple concepts, but think of all of these qualities if we emulate them on a daily basis, who we would be in society. If someone misleads you, don't mislead them. You should bear the burdens of others upon your shoulders, but not put your burdens on them. Don't quarrel with others, and receive everyone with a good face, like a joyous face, not like that poo-poo face people have.
You've spoken about it before.
I've spoken about poo-poo face a lot.
Yes.
It's a real thing. It is a tikkun. It is a correction. Some people come to this world with like a resting poo-poo face, and it's very negative. You should deal with your friends in goodwill and console them in their sorrow and their worries. So if you see someone who is sad or is worried or is anxious, we talked about this last week, you should console them, build their certainty. If someone gives you a secret, you should not reveal the secret. Even if the one who told you later on upsets you, you should not reveal their secrets. Don't speak poorly of anyone, or don't even listen and entertain poor speech that other people are saying. You should give a person the benefit of the doubt whenever possible, what we just spoke about. Taking special pain to do so. And if you do all of these things, you will be beloved to all. Do not feel superior to any person and humble yourself before them. And do all of what we just said, not for the sake of their approval, but because you want to be close to the light of the Creator, which I think is the most important part here. Because if you did all of these things, and a lot of people do check a lot of these boxes, but if you do them to get someone to like you, to actually get someone to love you, all of it becomes negative. All of it actually backfires. You have to do all of this because you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your relationship with the Creator. I just thought it was very beautiful. Because this is really the month where we have to run away from judgment of all kinds and chase mercy, chase merciful actions. And what I loved probably most here is don't make a big thing out of small things. Let them go. Let them go, because that's when the separation and the strife occurs. What do you think, Elisheva?
What David just shared actually brings up a pretty intense paradox that we find in the wisdom of Kabbalah, because on one hand, the Kabbalists teach that at the end of every day, that's the right time to reflect, to look back on the day and see what we can do differently, how we can change, what missteps or mistakes we might have made, and how we can repair them in the coming day. And that's specifically that recommendation from the Kabbalists. You're not supposed to do at your lunch break. You're not supposed to do in your 2 p.m. meeting. You're supposed to do it at night before you go to sleep. That's the time for what did I do? Why is it in my movie? How can I do it better? How can I grow tomorrow? And knowing that the moment I identify a misstep, I'm going to be given the opportunity to do it again differently. The month of Virgo is like one long end of the day process. It's one long late night reflection period, and the universe supports us. What's interesting for me is that if any of you know Virgos, or if you are a Virgo, you know that they tend to be hyper critical and super detail oriented. So this is the perfect time. We get this beautiful, when can we use those challenging, potentially challenging qualities to do good work? It's in the month of Virgo, to be able to look at the past year with that magnifying glass and identify all of the things that we can do better next time, to feel the pain of the misstep, the mistake, the way we fell short, and then strategize for how we can do it better. So my question has always been, how do we stay present in the month, right? Not create 30 days of, I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't really present, I wasn't really focused because we're doing this deep spiritual work. That's only going to create, but by not being present, we create even more negativity for the future. How do we reconcile those two advices? On one hand, spend the month in reflection. On the other hand, stay present.
As you were talking, I was thinking exactly what would be a practical way to approach this. And what the Zohar says, and it's actually written in our prayers that we say every morning, that a person should look at today as the day that controls the future and the day that transforms the past. And when you wake up in the morning, to realize that today is all that matters to determine everything about your life, past and future. And then to know that the first part of the day, that first hour, is the most important, as it's the head and the seed level of that whole day. If you can prepare your consciousness in that first hour of the day, if you can remind yourself of the shift that is required, the tests that you are going to have today, the challenges that will come about, the fears that will be awakened, if you can think about that, the first hour of the day, and prepare your consciousness for that, and not leave your home until your consciousness is strong, you will be well on your way to revealing so much light that day that's what will determine and transform the negative seeds of the past and the blessings of the future. I just keep reminding myself that the most important thing is, what am I doing with my consciousness in that first hour of the day? What am I feeding it? What am I engaged in? If you walk out that door and you don't have a goal, you don't have an intention to be with the light, to pass your test, to overcome your fears, to not give in to your lack, if that's not your goal, you're going to fail that day. And if you fail that day, you're going to fail every day, because every day exists in that day. On the flip side, if you can be strong, and this meditation is so powerful because I give myself mantras to say in the morning based on the areas that I know I'm going to fall. It's so important. And if you can do that, when tests come, you have this like 7-second window, maybe even less, maybe just 3 to 5 seconds, where everything stands still and you feel like you have the free will to react or not. If your consciousness is not good in the morning, you have no free will. You will just react. You have already fallen short. Many people who fall, who make mistakes, who do negative actions, they actually had no free will at that moment. Your free will is way before the negativity comes. It's way before the challenge comes. Your free will is when you wake up in the morning to prepare your consciousness. Once you go out into battle, you cannot control when a sniper gets you or where landmines are. But if you prepare ahead of time to avoid that negativity altogether, or to be ready when that battle comes, that's the most important thing.
So the best way you're saying to go about the month is to strategize. This is when I'm going to focus on that work, like
for that day. And
for that day.
I remember our teacher Rav Berg saying he doesn't leave the house until he does, like, I think it's 2 or 3 things. There's a meditation called the Ana B'Koach, which he does. It's a connection to the Zohar, which he does. But it's also preparing his consciousness to have certainty before he leaves the house. And obviously the Ana B'Koach and the Zohar have certain meditative qualities that help you achieve love, compassion, certainty. But for each one of us, practically, to use those Kabbalistic tools, absolutely, it's extra credit, it's bonus, you should do that, it's very powerful. But ask yourself, what's my goal today? If my goal is just to go out there and get society to like me, or my goal is I got to get my kids out the door, or my goal is, I hope I'm successful today. These are stupid goals. These are goals where you are going to lose the battle. Your goal needs to be consciousness. Your goal needs to be, what do I need to do to pass my test today? Visualize how you're going to be affected today. Visualize the type of people that you know you're going to meet who are going to press your buttons, and then prepare for that battle.
So I'm listening to David and also trying to process everything and what I've learned and what I'm sure our listeners are thinking simultaneously. And I wonder if we all have really internalized, and I ask myself this question also, right? Have we all really internalized the idea that light comes from darkness? And this is a really deep concept in the wisdom of Kabbalah. You can even say that science, I'm sure, agrees with it on some level. But the idea that when we are just sitting, doing nothing, right, there is a certain frequency or a certain level of light that we reveal just by existing, just by breathing, just by being, just by our soul being in the physical reality, we're revealing a certain light. And as long as we're not doing anything negative, we stay at that level of revelation. So it's, I don't know, let's say your static revelation of light is at a 3, okay? When you're doing something positive, you're sharing, you're being kind, you're going outside of your comfort zone to help someone else, you're in service. Let's say that level of revelation of light is at a 5. When you are transforming a negative quality within you, or when in a situation where you would normally behave selfishly or reactively or from a place of fear or lack or hurt, and you don't do that again, you find a more elevated, more positive way to respond, the level of light you're revealing is then at an 11. And I think that we maybe because this is how we're raised or society conditions us to believe that the most important thing we can do is to be nice and to be kind and to be sharing. Then comes Kabbalah and I think our teacher Rav Berg was a revolutionary in saying that really the most selfish thing or the most self-serving thing you can do is reveal light. That's the most important and powerful thing you can do. And it's in the transformation of our negative qualities that we reveal our most light. And maybe I shouldn't even say negative qualities. Let's say, for example, I'm reflecting on my past year and I realize, there's this one person, they push a button in me. I need to be more patient with them. They don't deserve my shortness or my I don't know, sarcastic comments. I can be kinder. I can be more compassionate. And I realize that they're a target. Okay. Then the moment that I come to my next interaction with them and they're pushing the button, the old me would say something under my breath. The new me is supportive and kind and compassionate. That revelation of light is more than me being nice to someone I like. And it's really important for us to understand that that's what dark light coming from darkness is that if we are not acknowledging a shortcoming, a lack, a deficiency of some sort, and endeavoring to grow there, we're limiting the amount of light that we can reveal in the world. And that's a big part of the work that we do in the month of Virgo, is not just to think of, where was I negative? Where was I selfish? Where was I fearful? It's also, where did I have opportunities to reveal light that I didn't take them? And a lot of that is in the, I'm a good person. I may have something snarky to say once in a while, or I might be, I have someone in my life who is especially impatient and insensitive with people they interact with, like in retail or in restaurants, and they have no patience for servers at restaurants or cashiers at stores. They're like, you must bow and you must serve me. But they're actually really wonderful people. And you can see how if they would manage to transform that, and I hope I'm not hurting anybody by calling you out. Maybe it's okay if I hurt you a little bit if it's going to help you change. But this is an anonymous story, of course. If that person would just be kinder and gentler with the people that they interact with, they would bring world peace. Like it's something so blaringly obvious, but so in their blind spot to them, right? It's so obvious to us as we're listening to the story, so in their blind spot that that's the kind of transformation that really does change the world. So part of this exploration into the past, talking about being present, if I'll be present enough in my daily life, I won't miss the opportunity to shift out of this reactive, habitual, selfish mode into a more light-filled mode. And to me, that's the main connection between the opportunity to stay present and the need to correct afterwards, the need to identify the negativity. It's really the cure. That if I remain fully present in my daily life and mindful of the battle inside me between the light and the darkness, I will have much less to heal in the month of Virgo next year.
I want to say one last thing before we close, and that this is a very powerful month to be charitable. This is a very powerful month, not just with money, but our time, our hearts, our love, whatever we can do to give to people to lift their spirits, lift their consciousness, give them opportunities to reveal light. This is the most powerful month to do it because it's cleansing negativity. So this is not the month to be cheap, to be miserly, to over-calculate what people need. I would encourage everyone to today do something that is charitable, that is outside of your nature, outside of your comfort, because this is planting an amazing seed to remove judgment and negativity from our own lives, selfishly. We're not doing this to help other people. We're doing this because it's our opportunity to reveal light and cleanse us. Every charitable act you do cleanses you of some type of negativity. It softens the negativity.
Specifically this month.
Specifically this month.
It has much more impact than any other month of the year.
Specifically this month is right before the first and second days of Libra, which is this powerful day where all this light comes into this world for the whole year. It's softening the negativity. And also what charity does, it says that it helps a person soften their reactive nature. You actually see you become less reactive when you are charitable. Don't give it out of obligation. Don't give it out of fear. Don't give it from a place of anger. Be excited about doing it, knowing that all of what you give comes back many-fold in many ways and many blessings.
And that's kind of the when we talk about giving, I think one of the ways that we do take the light amplification from a 5 to an 11 with our giving is when we acknowledge where our selfishness is operating in the giving. So some people like to give only when they're asked. Some people like to give when they're going to get something, a perk or some sort of recognition. Some people give to alleviate guilt. And if you acknowledge, if you're that type of person that you give because it offsets your guilt or the feeling that you have more than others and how that interferes with your enjoying what you have, you can actually use the action of being charitable, of giving, to diminish it. And I think that that's one of the beautiful benefits of giving with consciousness and not giving robotically, is that you can use it as a tool to transform whatever limitation you have around giving as well. Whatever agenda, whatever MO you have around giving, you can permeate that with more light by doing it for the sake of elevating yourself, not just benefiting whoever's going to benefit from your giving. Very powerful stuff. Really encouraging everybody this week, and of course the whole month of Virgo, to move slowly, actually. Being more, one of the things that can help you stay present this month and anytime is to not be reactive, not be a firefighter, but prevent forest fires by moving more mindfully through life, by taking things slowly, by allowing even those things that trigger us, right? Many times we are triggered by something and it propels us into action. We want to call, we want to email, we want to fix, we want to correct. Really taking that slowly and allowing time for the universe to conspire in your favor and take care of things for you so that you don't step into anything that you're going to have to do work on the next year in the month of Virgo. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also visit our webpage at weeklyenergyboost.com, where you'll find all the things we think are interesting for our listeners to know about, as well as the opportunity to donate, click the donate button and help to make Weekly Energy Boost possible. You can also fill out the form and send us any comments, feedback, or questions that you have. And as always, please continue to share, like, rate, and review. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.